Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. This is Petal. I hope you guys are all doing well wherever you are. Welcome to my very impromptu um, impromptu live. It's a little bit, I don't know, I was trying to do it earlier and I got delayed and it was just a bit of a mess. So it might be a little bit of a short one today because I know other podcasts are coming up. So I'm not sure what time the other ones are coming up. And obviously, I know all of us squaddies love to be in on all of them. So knowing that, I will try to make this a bit short. But anyways, because I also want to join. Anyways, hello. Welcome. As you know, we are a channel that supports the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry, Meghan, Archie, Baby Lily, Mama Doria, Poola Guy, the chickens, all of us here at Sussex Squad. Welcome, my friends. Hope you all are doing well. I was going to say hello to all my friends in the chat right now. Emerald is here. Hello, Emerald. And Carol and Anne from my peeps in Trinidad and Tobago locked on. Thank you, Anne. Mary H. and Catherine and our awesome moderator, Church Nelly, is here. Hello, Church Nelly. She's waving hands. She says, hands pink waving, hand pink wave. Okay, so all the hand pink waving from South Carolina. Hello to all of our wonderful other squaddies out there in South Carolina and North Carolina and all the other states as well. Tara, I haven't seen you here before. Tara Levette. Hello, Tara. Welcome. Wendy Loman and Christine and Black Queen and Mad World is here and Kids Indoors here and Faith U01. I'm so sorry. Is here. Mimi is here. Hope's Garden. Gloria C. Oh, all of our friends are here. Catalina and Jan is here. Hello, my friends. Kathy Gabby, Dolores. Oh, I haven't seen you here before. Isata Lagrange. I don't know if I just said that right or not, but hello, welcome. And salute to French. Hello. I think that's what it is. That's me not knowing languages, but I think that's French. So hello. Annie and Joan and Robert is here. Hello, Robert. Hanging out with us from Rome at 1900. Hello, Robert. Welcome. And Nalo Thandu is here. Hello, Nalo Thandu. How are you? And Stacy and Brenda. Oh my goodness, all of our friends are here. Welcome, my friends. And Annie and Janice and all of our other friends who are going to be joining us. We'll say hello as we go along. But hello. Welcome to Facts and Two Cents, and happy you could join me on my very impromptu as I tend to do this. I'm sorry. Sometimes I try to do these things really early and I'm on my game and I could get it done when I wanted to do it at like 11:30, but some days my mind just don't work that way. Some days it takes me a little longer. And it's just like sometimes it's like, well, I can't focus today, so it's just not working to do this earlier. So anyway, Spare is the news of the world. It's just everywhere. And one of the things that's happening with Spare, it being all over, one of the things that, and I just realized I forgot to bring it in, was Spare is a thing in libraries now. I was just like, I didn't even know library, it's like, library Twitter. I didn't even know that was a thing until the last few days. I'm seeing all of these posts about libraries stocking Spare and running out of it, and people on these massive wait lists. Thousands of people. One library had, I think, was like 4,000 people on a wait list to read Spare. And I was just like, all of a sudden, Spare is this thing in the library. Frankly, I haven't been to a library in years, but it's just like, oh, who knew? And then there are all of these libraries all over the world now posting their wait list for Spare. And I was like, who knew? Again, didn't know this was a thing, And so Spare is reviving all this excitement and reading and getting, like my mom, she needs to have the actual paper and, the book in their hand, and she can literally turn the pages. And a lot of people are like that, they're very much into getting that actual book in their hands. I am not one of those people. I would gladly just listen to the audio and also have my Kindle there, and I could read it or I could listen to it. I am not here for a big book taking up space. Just not my thing. So, but a lot of people are, and I appreciate that, you know. So spare and needs to see my little library picture in the background. I was like, well, you know, it goes right along with it. But yeah, it's just so wild to see all of these library posting things, and I'm discovering a new world of libraries on Twitter. It's just like, oh, okay, good to know. But again, you know, look, if it's inspiring reading and people coming together around a certain topic and getting educated in a way that they had never been educated before, especially, you know, in say the royal space, you know, because a lot of people, like, they know about the royal family and they know about the queen and whatever, but they're not paying attention to, you know, like us squatties know the details of what's going on. And a lot of people have this overall, oh, they're the royals, okay, that's great. And then when another big wedding comes up, or say another coronation or another jubilee, whatever, well, pay attention, and they don't pay attention to all the goings on in the royal family and how toxic it is, especially in their dealings with the press. And so this has been a real education for a lot of people. And so it is great to see that finally a lot of people have the message. It's finally sinking in, like, oh, wait a minute, we need to pay attention to this. This is not just as some people in the UK, you know, especially the right wingers and royalists. Oh, it's just Harry and Meghan whinging because they don't want to do royal duties. They just want to flit on off to California, make money on Netflix, and then just trash the royal family. You know, people are finally paying attention. It's like, oh, wait a minute, there's a different story here. And there is not only a story about that, but there's a, you know, especially when you say with spare, there's so many other things that's a part of spare that professors and therapists and all of these people are posting, like, no, if you want to understand what it's like to, you know, to battle through whether it's depression or mental trauma or grief, read this book. This is such a great book, and the details of it really shows someone who has been battling and very honest about their struggle, overcoming grief, overcoming trauma. And it's been amazing. It has been so amazing to see all of these people posting, and not just, you know, squatties, but these are legal, you know, whether it's legal or teachers or, you know, professors or therapists, whatever. They're like, no, this book. And so there's so many things that you can get out of spare, and I am so glad to see people are literally reading the book and really getting so many things out of it. I say, even apart from the royal stuff, you know. So it's been amazing. And one of the things that's been amazing is this article that came out today. It's an opinion piece in the New York Times. And I think I saw somebody just posted. Who is it that just posted about this? Was it you, Church Nelly? I think it was you that just posted something. Yeah, it was Church Nelly. She's like, this is a great article by the New York Times about Harry and Meghan. Yeah, it's exactly the same article. We're going to talk about it now. So for those of you who have not seen the article, we'll talk about it a little bit here, and of course I will post it in the show notes at the end, so you can go back and read the article. It's a great article about what is going on in the royal family. And, you know, again, this a reporter reading it in reading spare and really doing an investigation about what is happening. And I mean, talk about receipts upon receipts upon receipts in this article. It is beautiful to see, you know. And so all squatties are jumping for joy, because I'm like, we've been saying this forever. It's so good to see somebody finally paying attention, you know. And so, but before we do that, let me just move away my little scrolly at the bottom. This is if you're new here and you have not subscribed to our channel, do what the little scrolly thing at the bottom says, subscribe, click the notification bell so that you know when we drop a video, like and share this video. And if you're able, join the channel so that, you know, you can be part of our 2 cent screw, where you support the channel, you know, on a monthly basis and get a little bit of perks along the way. So that would be good. So I'm going to take this away so that I can read all the article and without it blocking anything. So there we go. Okay. Here we are. Hang on one second. Hang on. Okay, there we are. So this opinion piece from the New York Post dropped today, and it says people like me, uninterested in celebrities, shouldn't dismiss the brouhaha around Harry's memoir as mere celebrity tittle tattle. Zainab Tufekci, that's the name of the reporter who wrote this article. She writes, opinion, Prince Harry is right. It is not just a matter of royal gossip. Britain's most revered institution plays ball with one of its most revolting institutions, even if family members are hurt. And I love the fact that she wrote that. They're playing ball with Britain's most revolting institutions, the British press. And so it goes on to say Prince Harry is right, and it's not just a matter of royal gossip. And she says, people like me, uninterested in celebrities, should not dismiss the brouhaha around Harry's memoir as mere celebrity tittle tattle. He has made credible, even documented claims that his own family refused to stand up against their ugly, sustained attacks against Meghan, and also to him, really. In other words, it appears that Britain's most revered institution, funded by tens of millions of taxpayer funds annually, plays ball with its most revolting institutions. At the very least, it seems clear by now where some senior members of the royal family position themselves in all this. And then a little bit more, she says, my impression, and it's a long article, so you'll read the article. We'll just talk about a little bit more about what it says. But it says at the bottom of the article, she says, my impression from his memoir is that Harry wants to make a crusade of applying sunlight to corrupt media practices and his family's participation in them. If he succeeds in fighting the vile forces that he feels contributed to his mother's death and imperil his newfound love, he might bring a greater sense of decency in Britain and maybe even curtail the power of the worst practices in the media. Good luck to him. And this article is so detailed. I mean, it goes into all, if you're a squatty, none of this is shocking to you at all. But, it's so good to see it there in the New York Times, one of the best-selling, online news outlets. Apparently the Daily Mail on Sunday was one, and now the New York Times is now one. But it's so good to see that it's there in print, what we've been screaming about for all these years in print. And not only did she write that, she went into details about the royal reporters who have admitted to the palace leaking. She went into Camilla's detail about Camilla's relationship with Jeremy Clarkson and Piers Morgan. I mean, she went in for the details about the British press and their how they write against Meghan, all the things that they're saying horrible about Meghan, and then compare that to all the very same things they're saying about Kate and how they lovingly portray Kate in these same situations, and then are brutally attacking Meghan for the same thing. I mean, she went into detail after detail after detail, and it was just beautiful. And you could hear, I could literally hear squatties around the world saying, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. Somebody has heard. I could literally hear the praise and thank you, Jesus, is going around the squatty world today. Because it's we've been saying this forever. And finally, and of course, different people have written about these things, but it's so refreshing to see, that it's just look, this is it. Prince Harry is right. This is not tittle tattle. And the first time I heard that word tittle tattle was from Jenny Affia, Meghan's attorney. I was like, oh, okay, it's not royal tittle tattle, but it is factual. And I love how she didn't spare on the receipts. I mean, receipts after receipts after receipts in this article. You know, she even quoted their name. Yes, yes, Dolores. Dolores says, I thoroughly enjoyed quoting Dan Wooten saying that the royal family leak information on it. I love it. She did not spare on the receipts and she didn't spare on naming names. And I loved it. You know, and oh, I'm so sorry. It's just so, and again, I just imagine listening to squatties on their knees, thanking the Lord, the ancestors, karma, and whomever for like, this is finally out there in the world. People are seeing, and you cannot. I mean, if you read Harry's book and just pay any attention to the news, every one of them have receipts. Everything that he said, it's like he could back it up, and so this is what is so, I mean, I am just, thank you, Lord. So but again, if you're a squatty, you know this, so it is just, it's wonderful. And then her editor, the editor at large, for the opinion at the Times, he posted this. Have you heard enough about Harry and Meghan? Could you not care less about the whole kerfuffle? Well, the New York Times, Zinab Tafurky, is not one to follow celebrity gossip or a latest royal tittle-tattle, but she thinks there's something important to understand about the accusations Prince Harry makes in his new book, Spare, and in the Netflix documentary he and his wife made. Their story is not just a family melodrama, as Harry watched the years-long campaign of hatred and even racism the British tabloid unleashed on Meghan, who is mixed race. He understood that these vile publications were not wholly independent actors. They had acquiescence, if not the cooperation of his father, stepmother, and brother. I love it. They just named them. Zainab shows that establishing camaraderie with malignant voices of the press and leaking damaging information against one family member in exchange for good coverage of another have been common practices for years. In other words, Zainab writes, it appears that Britain's most revered institution, funded by tens of millions of taxpayers funded annually, plays ball with one of the most revolted institutions. And she says, given how the tablets play a major role in key events, including Brexit, where they also stoked outrage with unhinged lies and racism, even people uninterested in royal drama might want to take another look at why this media environment needs reforming. And this is the editor at large at the Times, for the opinion pieces, writing this about the article. And again, people are finally paying attention, which is what it's like, Lord, we've been screaming this to the rafters forever. And so it is just it's just wonderful that people, it's not, people can't just say, oh, it's just squaddies doing, whatever, it's only the Sussex squad, or say Meghan and Harry's mouthpiece, Omed. They can't claim this now. This is out there. People are, and one of the things that they have been doing over and over is trying for people to not believe the book. That's why the British press has gone so hard in trying to discredit Harry and Meghan, calling them liars, making up all this nonsense, anything to either distract from the book and make sure that, that people don't buy it, people don't believe them. And it's so good with all the things that they've thrown at this book that people are reading this and they're like, wait a minute. There's some truth to this. There is truth to this. There is, and I could only imagine Harry reading this and thinking, finally, somebody is paying attention. Somebody is paying attention, to this. People are listening. And this is one of the things, abusers always want to make you think that nobody cares about what you say. Nobody's going to believe you. So they will do anything to discredit you, to make you out to be a liar. So that way, whatever you did to them, people wouldn't, pay attention, or they wouldn't believe that they would do that. So I am happy to see, like, you know, that's is in the Times. And I hope other outlets in the US, because one of the things we know is that the royal family one of the reasons they're discrediting and going so hard at Harry and Meghan in the US, and even sending reporters to the US and all that stuff, is to tarnish their name in the US. And so I hope that to see other outlets really go after the British press and go after that relationship between them and the royal family. Look, you can, you know, people can say, well, look, the White House has a press corps where you have reporters, you know, are there, and you know, they report mainly on the White House. But if you look at the difference, when you look at one, the White House, either their representative on camera have to come out and do interviews with the press, who basically a lot of times very, very antagonistic towards them and ask them tough questions. They are there and they ask them the tough question. They are not there to promote whomever is in office. They're there to, you know, really go after them and really bring up the things they don't really want to talk about, whether they're Democrat or Republican, whatever. It's very different where we know the royal rota for the royal family is just a PR. They never get that. They never ask them any questions. They're just there to take pretty pictures and, you know, make them look beautiful. They never ask them any of the tough questions. They never, you know, like Harry said, it's just, you know, they're PR basically. And so it's I mean, it will be really something that for other outlets in the US to really go after this and really call out the royal family as to why they allow at tabloids who are there lying to people on the daily to be their mouthpieces. You know, if they want to present themselves as this reputable monarchy, this reputable family who we're supposed to believe is God sent to the world, well, why aren't they allowing scrutiny? They should, as Harry said in his interview with Brianna Gordon, if only 10% of the scrutiny that has been placed on him and Meghan has been placed on the royal family, they wouldn't be in this mess today. He talked about how dark and how despicable it is there. If only 10% of the spotlight is on them, you know? And so this is, and I hope this is the beginning of where, you know, again, that's why I titled it, The World Spotlight is on the British Press and the Monarchy. That relationship, there needs to be light. There needs to be, you know, credible press. And honestly, I don't even trust the BBC or any one of those outlets, because honestly, they are all palace PR, as we've seen, whether it's reporting on the Queen, whether it's reporting on Harry and Meghan leaving, the book, the Oprah Winfrey interview, or Harry and Meghan docuseries, even the BBC, ITV, they're all just palace PR. And so it is just they all get their narrative from the press and they all run with it. I mean, from the palace, and they all run with that. So I'm just happy to see this. Again, a little bit more on this. Zainab, she is actually on Twitter. And so she was tweeting this today. Lorna Editor, a TV editor, she is she's like a squatty, but she also, I think she works in TV in the UK. She tweeted this. She says, the point you made about the toxicity of the British press poisoning not only the royals, but the country via lies during Brexit campaign hits especially hard now that we are living with its disaster. You wrote an excellent article with more receipts than a Walmart till. And Zainab responded, she's like, yes, I don't understand the dismissal of it all because they're famous. And she's talking about people trying to dismiss Harry and Meghan. Oh, I don't want to listen to them because they're famous and they're whinging. And she says, sometimes that's what it takes to expose the inner workings of something so corrupt. The Harry and Meghan revelations are real, substantive, and relevant to much more than royals. And this person, Bawalsakti, she, tagging the Times article, she says, if it wasn't written by Zainab Tafaki, I wouldn't have bothered. And it's not about Harry per se. It's about the corrupt media ecology and the very corrupt House of Windsor. And so again, with her writing it, she is not into royalty, she is not into celebrity, gives it so much more of, credibility, because it's not a royalist, she's not a, she's not a squatty, she's not a person that she doesn't care about either way. But she saw validity in what Harry said and went after it. And that's what you want a reporter to do. I mean, I'm not here for, she doesn't have to like Harry and Meghan. She doesn't have to, none of that. She just saw some things like, okay, this is an issue. Let's investigate this issue. Let's talk about it. Is it true or is it not? And that's all you want from a reporter. Just focus on the facts. And she focused on the facts. And, it's literally as Harry said. And, again, as squatties, we know all this stuff. None of this is new to us. We've been, again, for the last, 6 years, whatever, squatties have been tweeting about this. All of these receipts, none of it is new to us, but it's just good to see people that are outside of this world, who are outside of the royal, anyone focusing on royals, to be able to see and bring the facts. And so I just think it's fantastic. Again, the links for this article is going to be in the show notes. So you can read it if you haven't seen it already. Along with that, this also came out. This is from Navarra Media. It says, with the success of his memoir Spare, Prince Harry has offered the blueprint for how others can circumvent the British media. Go west, go to California, and of course they, she, they said, like, a lot of times if you're not wealthy, that might not be an option for you, but it gives you a way, and it's also a way for the royal family, because whether they, are upset at Harry or not for, revealing, or speaking out about some things they may not obviously want Harry to talk about, whatever. But Harry literally has given them a blueprint of how they can no longer participate in the British media. Harry has given them a way of, they don't need the media. They don't need the printed press in the UK. They have a social media team. They have all of that. And Harry is literally showing you and showing them. It's like, there is a way out of that relationship. I mean, obviously the British media, as Harry said, has a lot of dirt on his family. So that may be a reason to be like, oh, I know I could do that, but I can't because they have all this dirt on me. And if I'm not cooperating, they're going to spill all my dirt. But at this point, will anybody be shocked at that Prince, that King Charles have dirt? No. Would anybody be shocked that, at any of this? No, I don't think anybody's going to be shocked. And at this point, wouldn't you rather, look, let it just say what you need to say, and I'd rather live in some semblance of peace instead of terrified that somebody's gonna leak something. You have every means. It's like Harry did. Larry's like, look, okay, I'm gonna put a book and I'm gonna put all my junk in there. Down to my frostbitten, parts. You just hear, and that way he controlled the narrative. And so he has literally given them a part for this. And so some of this article, it's a little bit lengthy, but it's important. It says British media gatekeepers are no match for Americas, but just ask Prince Harry. If the British media had gotten their way, Prince Harry's memoir Spare, released a fortnight ago, would have floundered. Harry's hatchet job memoir falls flat, read the Daily Express, commenting on the lack of queues outside the bookshop on publication day. Prince Harry's bombshell book Spare is heading for the bargain bin before it's even been released, declared the Daily Mirror a few weeks earlier. Elsewhere, the likes of Julia Hartley Brewer, Piers Morgan, and the rest of the British bombastic pundit class were suitably apoplectic. Most bizarre of all was the BBC ran a series of articles you'd instinctively associate with Take a Break magazine. Some of the articles were Harry's memoir displayed besides How to Kill Your Family Novel, ran one piece. A book review, apparently, they do those now, declares Spare as the weirdest book written by a royal. Another piece entitled Why Americans Seem So Pro-Harry Than the Brits. These were all published on the same day in an effort more akin to a coordinated PR campaign than a public service journalism. And yet, despite everything, Spare became the fastest selling nonfiction title in history, recording 1.4 million sales on its first day across the UK, US, and Canada. And another part of the article, it says, and although the Windsors have the BBC and Fleet Street, Harry has Netflix, Spotify, Penguin, and a smorgasbord of US chat show hosts. When it comes to winning the hearts of Britain's under 50s, the country's most powerful clan is holding a pea shooter in a gunfight, and the momentum is only going in one direction. And again, as we said, I mean, the British press have, basically thrown everything in the kitchen sink at Spare. They did the same thing to Oprah. They did the same thing to, Harry and Meghan docuseries. I mean, they did the same thing to Architect. I mean, everything. And they are learning the hard way that they are no match for the worldwide media. They used to get away with this stuff. That's why, obviously, we know they've been screaming murder, that Harry and Meghan are destroying the royal family. They don't want them at the court. I mean, name it. They have been throwing everything. But it's just great to see that people are like, yeah, right now you're using a pea shooter in a gunfight. And the momentum is going away from you. They are learning the hard way that their voice is not as strong and as powerful as it once was, and Harry and Meghan, again, the blueprint, get out of England, get out of there, because there is no way you can function. I mean, gosh, one could only imagine where Harry and Meghan would be if they had stayed in that country, and all of the press, pretty much 95% of the press is these right-wing nutcases. Where would you get your message heard if you stay there? And so again, the blueprint, get out, again, not everybody has the means to do, to have the opportunity to Harry and Meghan, but they have shown you that you can overcome the British press. And it doesn't mean the British press isn't going to do, they're still out there they're still going to California, trying to talk to their neighbors and bookshops and all of these things, anything to bring down Harry and Meghan, anything. But more and more people are seeing the light, and they're seeing the toxicity. They're seeing that horrible relationship between the press and the palace, and more people are calling people out. And I love, again, this article, naming names: Julia Hartley-Brewer, Piers Morgan, all of them, the BBC, they're naming them. And that is what the British don't like. They don't want their names, yes, they attack Harry and Meghan's name all day long and try to discredit them, but they don't like their names attached to these things, And so I love the fact that these outlets are naming them. And so it's I love it. And I love that it says, although the Windsors have BBC and really the entire Fleet Street, Harry and Meghan have Netflix, Spotify, Ben Greenhouse, and US chat shows and others, that, are not right wing, that are speaking out and speaking the truth. And, wonderfully enough, all of these that Harry and Meghan have aligned themselves to have a global audience. And that's the big thing. It's the global audience, because the loudmouths in the UK can't overcome the global audience. What are you going to do when, 90 million people or 90 million watch hours are watching Harry and Meghan? You don't have that kind of audience, So it's wonderful to see. It's absolutely, absolutely wonderful to see how, how this is. And then you have this idiot. I saw this before I came in and I was like, oh, great. Yeah, sure. Obviously, this is what happens when you realize that your voice isn't as big as you thought it was. This is kind of what happens. Piers Morgan would love to interview Harry and Meghan for a final showdown before moving on. We could get it off our chest, sure. Moving on. Idiot of the day. So anyways, I'm gonna jump into chat for a second and then move on. Yes, let's see. Joy says the US media are calling names now. Great. Yeah, that's what you got to do. You got to name them and shame them, because that's the one thing they don't like. They love to mock people, humiliate people, whatever. They don't like it coming back at them. They don't like it. They don't want to be mocked. That's the thing they fear the most. And yet that is the thing that they try to do to others, and what they've been doing to Harry his whole life, mocking and humiliating, and they don't want it. And that's why I love that the US media are calling them out and naming names. And I love it. Even the royal family, they're naming names. So yes. Let's see. Joy Bell says, I believe the other royals in Europe treat their families and in-laws better than the British royal family. Yeah, you don't really hear. I mean, if they don't, you don't really hear that. At least I haven't heard. Other than, we saw what happened with the Dutch, family, that that whole mess when the Queen, stripped her grandchildren, a couple of whom are biracial, of their titles. That I guess in January this month is when it's all stripped away, and the horrible way she went about it. But other than that, we don't really hear much about them, because they're not in the news as much. And if I don't know if their relationship with their press is the same. It doesn't seem that way. Or maybe their presses may not be as vicious as the British press. Who knows? So again, I haven't paid attention to them. So yeah. Church Nelly says, attach the British monarchy to these vile people. Attach. Yeah, you have to do it. Because again, like Harry says, if 10% of the scrutiny that's been thrown at him and Meghan is put on the royal family, on the monarchy, then where we are right now would not happen. And that's the thing. There's this secrecy that the royal family have, and the people of the UK and the media and all, the government have allowed. So the royal family has been able to get away with all this mess. They're all in this mess together, and they're basically covering each other. Let's see what else. Lorna says, one of the worst things about Paps is when Harry was serving his country, they would leak his whereabouts. That could not harm him, but those serving with that could not only harm him, but those serving with him. Absolutely true. Even when he was training, and we were talking about this yesterday with him training with Michael Booley, they went away because there's so much stuff happening with him, and he couldn't focus, and they even went for a drive to clear his head. And what happens? Papua following him and photographed him. And it's just like, unbelievable. Let's see. Anidi says, that is why I hope the royal family will be defunded one day and be confined to their palace. And I hope so too. Again, I have no problem with people if they want to go queening and kinging somewhere. You could go queen and king all you want, as long as you're paying for it. To still be king and queen of somebody, fine, go ahead, be king and queen, but use your own money, not taxpayer funded. Let that money go to people in the country that needs it, whose money it's supposed to be going to. You could go king and queen all you want, just don't be using other people's money to do it. King Charles could go have his fake coronation thing all he wants, as long as he paid for it. I have no problems if he paid for his own coronation. Go ahead, have a 3-day party. Don't use taxpayer money to go pay for it when people can't pay their bills and feed their family. You're taking food out of the babies' mouths to go have a 3-day party. Unbelievable. Your 3-day party, that could be somebody's rent. That could be somebody's food to feed their family. So it's just amazing. Black Queen says, in the famous words of Seeley, yes, from The Color Purple, until you do right by me, everything you think about is going to crumble. Yep. We applied that to Meghan and Harry's, like, until they do right. Yeah, this is coming down slowly but surely. if they don't, make right what they have done wrong. And again, they are trying to get the US market, and now this is all opening up. So people are finally seeing what they are, and it ain't good. Let's see. Veronica J20 says, I wish the Unroyals will realize that they aren't winning the younger people and stop abusing Harry and Meghan. They're in this bubble. They're in this bubble of these fake polls that they see that feed them the lies that they're popular. And, it's one of those things where they're going to realize much too late that the very people they're colluding with, the tabloids, is going to be their undoing. They're the ones that are going to destroy them, but they're going to realize that way too late, because they're in this tabloid bubble of being fed this nonsense, this lies by the tabloids, and they're not really paying attention to what the facts are. And so, again, this very tabloid is the one that will destroy them. Let's see. Jessica says, pea shooter in a gunfight, excellent description. Yeah, they are playing 90s game in 2023, and that's what they're doing. Again, if there had somebody there with the mindset of we are in the year of our Lord 2023, they would have ditched the press a long time ago, and realized that they don't need it. And again, if there's anybody there with one grain of common sense, they will understand that Prince Harry just gave you an out. They just gave you an out where you could come out from under the thumbs of the British press. And will they take it? Most probably not. Baron will glad to read this article. He loves the New York Times. Oh, I'm sure he's read it. I'm sure he's read it. Squatty's been posting it all morning, so I'm sure he's read it. Let's see. Dolores says 6 years nonstop. Meghan has suffered and still is because of the information is just starting to spread outside of Britain. Is because the information is just starting to spread. Yeah. Meghan, 6 years nonstop. Meghan has suffered and still is. Yeah. It's like definitely she is still suffering from this. How do you overcome this stuff? And they're still doing it. They're absolutely still doing this stuff. They're still leaking. They're still doing it. Let's see. Oh, Sherry. Oh, look at this. Sherry is giving someone a book. That is so awesome. So at Cecily Nelson, I don't know how to say the name. Sherry wants, just in case you didn't see Sherry's post, Sherry, I hope you don't mind me posting this, just in case you didn't see a post. She says, do you still want a copy of Spare? I will mail a book through Bluebird Books. I'm unable to send audio through Bluebird, technical difficulties. So Celia Nelson, if just in case you didn't see Sherry's post, just see that she wants to send you a book through Bluebird. And Books by Bluebird, they are a small book outlet that the squad we have supported over time, where we purchase and purchase book through them, so that way you can help smaller bookstores as opposed to just Kindle, Amazon or something. So, and I made a mess of this. I completely, I forgot about it. And then I got mine through Kindle. To Amazon. I was like, oh shoot, I made a mess of that. So it wasn't helpful in that way. Let's see. And Lydia's posting about it as well. So Cecilia Nelson, can you share contact info with Sherry for the book? Don't add it in the chat, but perhaps DM or an email Baron. Okay, so hopefully you guys are able to do definitely don't post your contact information in the chat. Make sure that you stay private and privately able to get that information over to Sherry, so that way you can get your book. So there you go, DM or something private. No, don't put it in the chat. So yeah. Let's see. Okay, so let's move on for a second. We'll come back to the chat. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, yeah. Lydia, actually, let's just get you out of there. Thank you, Lydia, for your comment, but we'll just move it there. There we go. So this is happening right now. Yesterday we talked about, Andrew plot to overturn his settlement with so now it's not 12 million anymore. Now it's 3 million. I'm telling you, the British press, it was 12 a minute ago, and now it's gone down to 3 million settlement. Okay. Well, according to the Independent, editor Geordie Gregg from the Daily Mail. And so now, not only is that happening, apparently Virginia has signed a memoir deal worth millions. But according to this, that as you see at the bottom, it says, but she is, it says news of Virginia's book deal is yet another publishing blow to the royal family, still reeling from Prince Harry's affair, as it is yet again to bring up her, relationship with Prince Andrew. So, whatever, we will just leave these two to it. Whatever they decided, from the 12 million to now 3 million. And yeah. So, and now it's part of it. They're saying that, oh, if she write a memoir, she's not going to be able to say anything about Prince Andrew. And now on the flip side, another article says, oh, Andrew is now trying to do, extend his, I guess, whatever gag order they have on Virginia, where she hasn't been able to speak about it. He is, he is now going to try to extend that gag order. Whatever. We'll just leave them to that. Moving on. Anyways, to better things. Amazing. Vanity Fair wrote this article today. They dropped this article about, actually, was it today or yesterday? I think it was yesterday they wrote this article about Liz Garbus. Actually, they did an interview with Liz Garbus, who was the producer of Harry and Meghan docuseries. And this was a really, really great interview. It's a really, really, really good interview. Again, I'm going to put the link in the show notes for you, so that way you can read it yourself. It's really good. So a couple of things about the for the interview. It says, Harry and Meghan director Liz Garbus aims to spotlight the larger historical context of Prince Harry and Meghan's story with the hit docu-series. And some of the article, I took 3 little clips from it. It says, part of it, she says, for me, what was really important was to connect the dots to the larger historical issues, says Garbus, referencing the storyline about racism, colonialism, and how important white supremacy has been to the British Empire monarchy. Speaking about Harry and Meghan, Garbus says they were, to their credit, very open and willing to journey down some of the paths that they might not have originally considered. The love story is the spine, but for me, it was always necessary to connect the dots to the personal story and the larger historical context, which I think is very important, because I remember when Meghan did the interview with Vanity Fair, one of the things she said, she said that, when you give your story to someone, as she gave it to Liz, they can take it, and I'm not quoting her verbatim, but basically she said, they bring their own viewpoints to the narrative, and so they can take it in a place that you didn't plan to go before. And so a lot of the press around that statement was like, she's trying to withdraw herself from it. She's trying to, basically leave Liz Garbus out to dry, that it was done in the way that she didn't want. And I didn't know, because the reporter who interviewed her didn't question it. And again, it's one of those things, don't just take a soundbite, always ask the question, so there is no confusion as to what she meant. And I wasn't sure if she was withdrawing herself from it, or if she was just saying, which it actually happens if you're going to give your story to someone else to direct it. They are going to bring their own viewpoints into that, and they are going to, they didn't live it, so they are going to come from a completely different angle from how it was told to them, and they're going to bring their own experiences and their own thoughts and to that story. So I wasn't sure which it was. And so I was like, okay, we'll just see when we saw. And so this here's Liz Garbus explaining, they were willing to go, even though that wasn't where they had originally thought of going. So I like that. And a little bit more about it, she says, about people's response to Harry and Meghan telling their own story. She says people were very happy to read everything about Harry and Meghan when it's someone else writing about them, says the filmmaker. But when Harry and Meghan want to tell their own story in their own words, it suddenly becomes an issue. People are not forced to watch a documentary. It's not going to be required in school. It is your choice what you binge and what you don't binge. There have been more documentaries and books written about Harry and Meghan, and about Harry and Meghan and Harry and Meghan. I'm sorry, there have been more documentaries and books written about Harry and Meghan than Harry and Meghan have produced themselves. So I think it's an interesting kind of pearl clutching that doesn't quite add up with the public appetite for reading stuff about them from other people. And I think it's all right. These people will write hundreds and hundreds of books, hundreds and hundreds of articles about Harry and Meghan, and nobody bats an eye. But the moment Harry and Meghan say, I'm writing my own article, I'm going to tell my own story, all of a sudden it's like, how dare you write your own story? We're tired of hearing about you. And the same people are the ones writing hundreds of articles, and they don't care about that. And then she also goes on to say, speaking about what Buckingham Palace did in trying to discredit them, she says, though she wasn't a royal watcher, Garbus says that in making the documentary was at times a surreal immersion exercise into the alleged palace mind games Harry and Meghan described to her. For instance, Buckingham Palace said that we did not reach out for comment on the docuseries when we did, said Garbus. They did that to discredit us. And by discrediting us, they can discredit the content of the show. We lived through some of these moments that was a little bit like Alice through the looking glass. And then she talks about the Jeremy Clarkson thing again with them, what it was like with them telling her what their life, and then to see it play out in, for example, an article that Jeremy Clarkson that we know of. But I'm so happy that she talks about this. Again, so many people in the UK press especially are like, screaming about Harry and Meghan talking about their own life, but yet the same people are going, and writing all these articles and books about them, and nobody bats an eye, and I'm glad she calling out Buckingham Palace. People aren't shy about calling them out all of a sudden. And I love that. I absolutely love that they're calling them out, and she's exposing the mind games. It's like, no, we tried to contact them. And what they were literally doing was trying to discredit the series. And so I absolutely, absolutely love that. So kudos. Thank you, Liz Garbus, for speaking out. Thank you. Connie Bauman says, I hope Harry and Meghan make lots of cash from their documentary, memoir, and archetypes. I mean, I'm telling you, that's the thing what they hate. They hate the fact that Harry and Meghan are now independent. They are independently wealthy. And, they don't have to, they're not under the thumb of Prince Charles. Or can you imagine, again, if they didn't leave the UK, they would now have to depend on William for their upkeep, because William now has the Duchy of Cornwall, and the Duchy is the one that would have been paying for Harry and Meghan. Can you imagine being under the thumb of William and needing, William to be able to survive? I mean, financially, I mean, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, what horror would that have been for Harry and Meghan? So all that has happened, I am so happy that it is really, Harry and Meghan were able to get out of that just in time, so they never have to face that. Dolores says the British media has even been trying to figure out their income. Yeah, they had all this stuff, and again, for specifically facts, nobody knows how much Harry and nobody knows the dollar amount of the deal between Harry and Meghan and Netflix. No one knows the dollar amount between Harry and Meghan and Spotify. No one knows the dollar amount between Harry and Meghan and Penguin Random House. No one, neither of these companies nor Harry and Meghan have ever said how much. Any dollar amount, and a lot of people like to say $100 million deal. The other day I heard a $130 million deal, whether it's 20 million for Penguin. I mean, they're throwing out all of these numbers. Nobody knows the exact amount. Any suggestion, any of these, numbers going out is just mere speculation, and so people are saying, well, they got, around what Barack Obama made. And it's like, I don't recall Barack Obama ever saying how much he actually his book deals were. I never recall Obama saying, or Spotify or Netflix saying whatever deal they have with the Obamas at all. Media speculation. That's all it is. And so I keep trying. You always try to remember, like, no, all of these numbers being thrown out came from the press. So Kizendor says William is so petty. It's not funny. He all this basically he has all this money, power, and he is totally unhappy. Well, yeah, he needs to have his foot on somebody's neck to be happy. He is not happy until he controls people. It's that same pattern what Harry and Meghan ran away from. Terry says, what a nightmare that would have been if they were dependent on William's purse string. I'm telling you, it would have been. Can you imagine? Oh my goodness. All the headlines that would be there destroying Harry and Meghan while they have to depend on William for money. Oh my goodness. The humiliation that he would have put them through. Patricia Matthew, hello, says, all of the colonizers trying to befriend Africa after abandoning the continent for so long, now they're trying to sweeten the leaders to sway them, throwing monies at them, but Africa isn't buying it anymore. I hope so. Some countries are, because a lot of times I keep hearing about China colonizing a lot of Africa. And so I hope you are correct, Patricia, because I'm hearing the reverse, and this is one of the things that really, as we say, the UK, that's really irritating to me, is because these people owe money to former colonies. They owe money, yet they're throwing all of these millions of dollars on a coronation, an unnecessary coronation. King Charles, he's already king. Camilla is already queen consort, or whatever she's going to be, queen, whatever. I don't really care. There is no need for a coronation. None whatsoever. It is a vanity thing with them, and I understand he could be thinking, well, I've waited 70 years or however long you waited to be king. But again, use your own money. That money should be, whether it's going to the poor who are struggling right now because of Brexit, or that money should be sent off to people whose countries and islands that you have stole money from, and stole their resources, and stole their service, and all of the things you've stolen from them. That should be going to that, not be going towards a coronation nobody asked for, and that is completely unnecessary. And the sad part of this is that I'm sure there are going to be Commonwealth leaders at that coronation. Leaders whose country is owed money. And that is the most, oh, goodness. I mean, for me, I will hope they stay away. I will hope they protest. I will hope. But you know what's going to happen. You're going to see some of these leaders there. even though they're owed all this money from from the from the British, they're gonna be there, and ugh, goodness. Joyce says, Joyce, I think you're it today. Keep dropping on your comments. Joyce says, Mark Cuban, millionaire billionaire, said when Harry and first left, says, go get your book deal and production deal, then sit back and raise your children. That's what Harry and Meghan are doing now. Good for them. Yes, I remember that. And Mark Cuban also said, look, he's like, whatever they're doing, I would want to be a part of it, because he saw right away the potential of that they could make such a huge impact. He saw it right away, and this is such great advice. Get it while it's hot, and you can secure whatever you need to secure, and then raise your family as in a relative safety, and in a state where it's like you can protect your family the way you need to be protecting your family. Americans aren't, we are not upset that Harry and Meghan are out there making their deals and earning money. We're like, good for you. Good for you. The only people who are upset are the ones that want to control Harry and Meghan. Why would anybody look at that and be like, how dare you come here and make money? Like, look, make your money. Make your money. That's what you do. Come here, make your money, and do what you think you need to do. So I don't know Americans who are upset at them making money. The people that are upset are the ones that want to control them, and want them, them to fail so that they would have to come back to the UK so that they can use them to make money for themselves. So yeah. Let's see. Jessica said, what? The BP are trying to figure out their income? Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. There was someone posted a screenshot of one of the tabloids trying to figure out and basically doing all their budgets and all. I mean, it's just the most ridiculous thing in the world. Yep. They are in their pockets as they do. Yeah, of course. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised at that. As long as a Black person is involved, they will try to get into your pocket. Because, you have Black blood and you're not supposed to be making millions. That's according to them. Let's see. Lydia says, oh my, that would be terrible. The kids would have had to get job with William in control of the dollars. Yep. That would have been a horror show. Let's see. Sherry Ware says the UK media expect to make dollars off Harry and Meghan, but Harry and Meghan can't. Doesn't make sense. Nothing they do makes sense, honestly. Nothing they do makes sense at all. Yes, exactly, Dolores. Yeah, they have. They've definitely been trying to figure out their income, and they are dropping all these lies. It's like, who knows what the income is? It's like. And I'm glad that Harry and Meghan, I'm sure they have different investments all around. And I'm glad that they try to share it so that, can inspire others with, different places you can invest to, and stuff. And then, of course, the British press went after the company that, that they talked about and they shared. And so I'm glad now that they've kept it private, because any company they share, the British press will go and to try to destroy that company so that they would not do business. I mean, this is why I'm so glad that not just US press, but press around the world are exposing this, because again, this is not journalism. This is not journalism at all. This is a protection racket for the royal family. This is like, I mean, this is like the mafia. This is how they behave. This is like mafia behavior. This is not journalism. It is corrupt and it's toxic. And so this is about destroying people. This is not about, reporting on facts. This is about destroying people's lives and their reputation. And so I'm really happy that the light is being shown brightly on this. And I hope it stays there until this falls apart. So, yeah. Let's see. Annie says, yes, Patricia Matthews, Harry and Meghan will be able to live in peace in Africa. Lord knows they need it. That depends on which part of Africa, because you know, British press, as we've seen online, they, when that stuff came out with when Meghan was talking about Archie with the fire in Archie's room, it was so easy for the British press to corrupt a lot of people from South Africa on Twitter, where they were attacking Meghan. And it was just the most interesting thing I have ever seen. It was so easy for them to believe the nonsense from the British press. So, while I would think there's maybe some parts in Africa that are not as, they are not online, their presence online is not as much where they can live in peace. There are some that they will just corrupt, like South Africa. I was just very much surprised at how easy it was for them to turn on Meghan. That was just like, wow. And again, it could have been just bots claiming to be South African. That's also could be there because Twitter. But it was just very interesting. So I don't feel as, it definitely would be a lot less than the US, or definitely a lot less than the UK. But I don't think, um, some in Africa will, and again, we know a lot of the British press, especially, have very deep pockets. And you're giving money, if whether it's giving money to people to spread that stuff or to attack, some people, including some in this country, will take that money to do it. So it's really sick. It's really, really sick. And some, especially, who would want to elevate their profile and all of that stuff, they would buy into it, including some here, right here in the US. So, who knows? But for right now, they have a community. They have a community that's not really buying into the press, no matter what the tabloids say. And so right now they're safe there. And hopefully, Lord willing, they'll, it'll be for a while. So, Joseph Bruno says, don't presume you know who Meghan is if you haven't walked in her stilettos. Exactly. Or her bare feet, which she likes to walk around in as well. Exactly. Totally. Black Queen says, Patricia, yes, Africa is beautiful. The colonizers want to keep the dirt hut narrative. I know Harry and Meghan will purchase a summer home there soon. Maybe you got more information than I do, Black Queen. Maybe they do, maybe they already have. I know Harry's second home in Botswana with his friends Mike and Tej, as he talks about them in a spare. So who knows? Who knows if the British press have not gone out there to try to find where they live and all. They really have to. The world press really have to go after the British press and help destroy that system, because again, it is so. They're not journalists. This is, again, mafia behavior that hides. And so if that is not destroyed, they will literally go in and destroy everything. It's sick. It is so sick. So, let's see. Patricia said, go back to Patricia. She says, the Western media lie a lot. That is why I don't listen to colonizers and their lies. There's a lot of lies going out there. There is a lot of lies. And so you have to know if you're going to, one, you got to know the topic of what you're talking about. You got to know the ins and outs of it, and then decide, test different medias, like, okay, to figure out which one is honest and which is not, who has a history of lying and who really focus on the truth and getting to the dirt, the meat and potatoes of stuff, and report the truth. So yeah. Let's see. Joy says, Harry and Meghan have may have offered the titles to be free in the first place, but things have changed. If Charles want the titles, let him take the titles from Harry and Meghan and their children, and the world can see how petty they are. Yeah, yes, I totally agree. Let them, if they want it, let them take it. And they don't want to appear petty, so who knows? Let's see what else. So Church Nelly is posting the link to the article. If you want it, it's there in the chat, or if you want to wait and just click it when at the end of this, because I'll post it in the show notes, that is fine. Thank you so much, Church Nelly, our awesome moderator. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Hilma says Mike and Teach has powerful guns and used to dealing with wild animals. British media better not try them. I am telling you, that's funny. Yeah, they're definitely Mike and Teach are used to the bush, so definitely watch yourself out there. But anyway, let's see what else I got. Oh yes, seems Harry's favorite cousin is Princess Eugenie is having another baby. So she posted this. I think it was posted today or yesterday or something. I wasn't paying attention. But Princess Eugenie says, we are so excited to share that there will be a new addition to our family this summer. And photo by Jack. So that's her and a little one. August. Yeah, I think it's August. Yeah, I think that's his name. So August, I mean, he grew. Look at how tall he is. It's just like, I'm telling you, kids just grow so fast. This tiny little thing, look at how tall he is. So, and I think his dad is pretty tall. So it looks like he might be a tall little one. And then, of course, her mom, Sarah Ferguson, she posted under it, says Granny Heaven. And then her brother-in-law, I think that's Princess Beatrice's husband, Edo whatever. I can't. I don't know how to say his last name. Mapazelli or Pelly Mosey something. Anyways, Edo, her brother-in-law, also send love. So yeah, she's having another baby. So congratulations to Princess Eugenie on her new baby coming up in this summer. So, and obviously that's Harry and Meghan's favorite cousin. So there you go. Kudos to her and Jack. Also talking about babies, at least one of my favorite podcasts in Archetypes, breaking down the bimbo with Paris Hilton. One of the things she talked about was something that she liked to pass on, and she talked about what it would be like raising a daughter or something like that, and she posted that they have a baby. She says you're already loved beyond words, and that's a hand of the little one. And so she has a baby. She and I don't know, is she married? I think she's married. I don't know. So I want to say her husband, or if not, her partner. They have a little one. So congratulations to Paris Hilton. And I know it's so wild with that podcast because again, I didn't really know anything about Paris other than she what they would say in the tabloids about her. Like I would see tabloid covers and stuff about her, and then there was apparently she said something negative, and so it seemed like the press completely has they don't report on her at all, but she still has this huge following, whether it's on social media or on YouTube and all of that stuff. And so she has a huge audience, even though you don't really see her in the press anymore, or very little, I guess. But one of the things that after she was on Archetypes, I went in to just try to find out about her, because again, I really didn't know about her. She just seems that this blonde, and I don't even like the word, that B word. I don't even like it. But then discovered her documentary where she talked about her life, and it was just like, whoa, when you totally, you see someone and you have these preconceived ideas about them from what you think about them, and then realize that she is completely different from that. yeah, she has, she's very much into the fashion and in that kind of world and the social media world and all of that stuff. But she is like, her life is so different. Understand, and just hearing about just the abuse and all of that stuff that she experienced, and her now advocating for other children, and it has been an amazing thing. And so for me, it was just, again, I just completely changed anything that I thought about her. um and so then to see this today, I was like, oh well, congratulations to her, and her and her family, and on her new baby. So I just, and again, there's a photo there. If you haven't seen and you're interested, she has a documentary, and it's the story about her life. And so it's on YouTube. I actually posted it on our community page once, so yeah, if you ever want to go, I'll probably just post it again just in case you want to see her story. It's it's a doozy, and the things that she's gone through and lived through in her life. So unbelievable. So kudos to Paris, and congratulations on her baby. And this, we've been promoting Live to Lead, and that is still going on Netflix, obviously. But one of the things that was slow to happen was, the Nelson Mandela Foundation. One of the things that was slow to happen was them really getting out there and promoting it. And when the British press and I guess the Australian press, I guess someone in the Australian press did this as well. They, completely misquoted Nelson Mandela's granddaughter, and claiming that she did basically not approve of Harry and Meghan using Nelson Mandela as an inspiration and all of that stuff, and completely misquoted her in that, and to use that to attack the Sussexes. When that happened, it sort of sprung the Nelson Mandela Foundation into action to start advertising and doing interviews about Live to Lead, because again, it's such an incredible docu-series. And so it's been wonderful. Yesterday I noticed that they started posting all the photos of of all the men and women who were part of Live to Lead. And of course, this is the first part. And so, we've been retweeting them and stuff like that. So it's really, really great to see that they're getting out there, promoting it. And I mean, again, I've even seen things on Twitter like, why aren't they promoting this more? I mean, it's so great and it's so inspiring. And so so it's great. For me, it's really, really good to see this being promoted. And as I mentioned the first time, when I saw when Netflix first came out with it, and one of the things I noticed, the who was missing from this picture was the voice of Black women, Black leaders. And so for me, of course, I would notice that, because that's very important to me. And so one of the things I did was and I knew it was too late for this series because it was already produced and it was already out there ready to go. And so I emailed, well, first I tried to email the Nelson Mandela Foundation, but for some reason I couldn't. I couldn't, their contact that they have on their website was not working. So I couldn't. And so I emailed Archwell, because their email is there. And I also emailed Ruth and what are they called? Blackwell and Ruth. And Blackwell and Ruth are the producers of this. They're the ones that did all the interviews. It was their concept, and they're the ones that did all of the interviews in 2019, before Archwell even came on to the docuseries last year. Archwell came on to it last year. And so they're the ones that really, they're the ones that really started this. And so I emailed both of them, and letting them know that I really was really looking forward to the series, very excited about it. But I let them know I noticed that what's missing is the voice of Black women. And while I love all these people and I respect them, well, some of them I didn't really know, but but the women, especially, I knew these women. One of the things that I noticed that's not there, even though I respect them, it would have been really great to also get the perspective of Black female leaders. So I sent an email to Blackwell and Ruth because their information was there. And I also sent it to Archwell because they are also producing. And then so I got an email back from Ruth Holiday, Hub Day. She again is one of the producers. From Blackwell and Ruth, and she was so nice. And so she was like, I hope you enjoyed hope you enjoyed the series and everything. And I do need to respond to her and let her know that yes, I definitely enjoyed it. But she said they interviewed a lot of Black women also, and they interviewed people like Simone Biles and Aisha Curry and Liberian President Ellen Johnson and a host of others, but these 7 are who Netflix optioned. These are the 7 that they optioned for this first series, and they're also working on other series as well. And so I just really, for me, I was like, I love these people, but I also would want to hear from Black women leaders, and I even suggested different ones. I mean, like I love Jacinda Ardern, but I also would have loved to hear from Mia Motley, who is in the same position as the prime minister of a country. I love Greta Thunberg, absolutely love her, but I would have also loved to hear from Vanessa Nataki, who is an Ugandan environmentalist and actually works with Greta Thunberg. I love, Gloria. Again, for me, there are other equal Black women voices. And so for me, I just wanted to make sure I was like, okay, I love these people, but there are Black women who are doing these things, and I would love to hear from them as well. And so for me, it's very heartened. I feel very heartened to know that they do have, and they are working on this series going forward, and to add, add other series of women and men. And one of the things that, they're really working on making sure that there's diverse voices. And so that makes me feel good. So I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, I really, really, really appreciate that. So, for me, that's important. And I feel like if there are things that we see that, changes, hey, I do like Meghan, write an email or write a letter, say, how can we, how can we make sure that these voices are also heard? Because for me, as a Black woman, it's important for me to do that. So, yeah. And so, I just, again, I love the series. It is amazing. And I look forward, and fingers crossed, look forward to part 2 and 3 and however long, because I think we really, really need the series. It's been an amazing, it is so, like, I cried with Jacinda Ardern, like, oh my gosh, that was just, and then to see, now that she is resigning next week makes it so much more impactful. And I just think it's amazing. So yeah. But yeah, so I'm going to jump in the chat for a bit. And I think that's all I got with this. So yeah, I'm going to jump in the chat and then we will end it. Let's see. Sherry Ware said, I would to hear about Lady Angela Camfed through another series of Lit to Lead season 2. Yeah, I would love to hear from her. Yeah, what's her name? Is it Angela? Is her name from CamFed? Oh shoot, she actually just took over CamFed. The person that was leading it, she is, I think, resigned, and then we're talking about the same person, I'm sure, but I'm not sure. Is it Angela? Is her name for some reason? I think it's but I'm not sure it's Angela. From CamFed. Let's see. Kathy Gabby says, but I think it's great that Black men are leading the series. Black women will follow if Meghan has anything to do with it. Everyone cannot be featured at once. No, absolutely. I totally get that. I totally understand. But that's where I was with that. Because in my mind, there are 3 white women, and I was like, well, one of them could have been a Black woman or 2. And especially, for me, it's like, for me, this is an area that's very sensitive because, again, I am sort of like pay attention and more kind of in the entertainment world, and Black female voices, especially dark-skinned Black female voices, are in the minority. They will, Black male, you'll get a lot of roles, but Black women, especially dark-skinned Black women, our voices are very, very limited. And so for me, my thing is always, if I see something like this where you have white women, white men, black men, then my is like, okay, I am a dark-skinned black woman. Where is my voice? You know, where is an Asian person's voice? Where is an Indian person? It's like, so I feel like with those things, it should be a balance, and so this wasn't as balanced, and so that's why I felt like, you know what, yeah, hopefully the next one, that's more of a conversation. Again, that does not take away from this series at all. It's just something that for me is important, and that's why I brought it up. Other people will feel very different. But for me, that kind of representation, it absolutely matters for me. And I will always speak up about that. I will always, whenever I see a situation, especially where Black woman's voice is not there, I'm always speaking up. So I'm there creaky. I'm like the squeaky wheel. I'm sure many people are like, Petal, shut up. But I'm a squeaky wheel when that happens. So there. Anfu says, for sure, our Black sisters will follow once Meghan is involved. It's just the beginning. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sherry West says, I thought Manny Mahalia would be featured in the Live to Lead documentary. Okay. Who knows? Maybe the next one. Because as she said, they've interviewed quite a bit of people, and also the head of the Nelson Mandela Foundation said they have a lot of different interviews from a lot of different people. So they are really pushing for it to be an ongoing thing, an ongoing series. So this is series 1, and then there are others going to be following. So I'm very excited about that. Very, very excited about that. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Lydia. It's like very true, Petal. Janet Lavalley says, representation matters. Yes, for me, yes, it does. Kathy Gabby says, I'm pretty sure there's an awesome lineup. Yes, absolutely. And Mary 8 says, so true. Would love to see Black women. Exactly, Pala. 100%. Yeah. Sherry, you were definitely one of it today. But I cried throughout every episode and Live to Lead. I know. Oh my gosh. The one I cried most was definitely Jacinda Ardern, and then the one with oh my goodness, I can't remember his name, just slipped me all of a sudden. But with the prison, oh goodness, the name just went out of my mind. With him with the death row. Oh my goodness, that that is hard. That is really, really hard. Kids and Dog says, why is cackling scarecrows visiting Africa Center? Just why? I'm not sure. What is cackling scarecrows? I don't know what that means. Explain. I don't know. Ed says the struggle continues. Yes. Let's see. Eleanor Patterson says, the Common Sense podcast with Omid Scobie is also an eye-opener. He does confirm he is not friends with the Sussexes. He just wants to be fair. Yes, I will also, thank you for reminding me. I will also post a link about that. Omid Scobie did a podcast. Actually, one of the guys, I think he is one of the people that were part of the Commonwealth podcast that Harry and Meghan did with them, with the the teens, I guess. I don't know if they were teens, but the Queen's Commonwealth Trust, he was part of that. And I think he was one of the guys that was part of that. So he just started a podcast, and he did this podcast with Omid Scobie yesterday. And actually it was posted yesterday. And so Omid was talking about this, that yes, no, he is not friends with the Sussexes. He does know people in their circle, obviously. And, but he was talking about why people started to refer to him as a friend of the Sussexes and the Sussex mouthpiece, is because he started talking about, what it he started talking, one, he speaks fairly about them, and the Cambridges, he doesn't either way. He just speaks fairly, and they want him basically to attack the Sussexes. And because he wouldn't, you know, it's a way for them to minimize him, is a way for them to attack him, is a way for them to discredit him by calling him the Sussex's mouthpiece. And so it just, it's a very interesting, it's definitely very interesting conversation. So I'll put a link to it so that way you can, you can see. Let's see. Sandy Powell says the trolls and their angels and trolls are always counting the Duke and Duchess of Sussex coins and figuring ways to take it from them. Oops. Good luck with that one. Good luck with that. Absolutely good luck with that. Let's see. Oh, Marissa says, I think Paris H will be an awesome mother. I think so too. When you've gone through the things that she's gone through, and and just from her, obviously we don't know her personally, but just judging from the conversation, and her perspective, from the episode she did on archetypes, I think she will too. I think she will be a wonderful mom. So again, congratulations to her. Let's see. Annie says, I still look at Live to Lead podcast once a day for continued support. Oh, that's so awesome. That is so awesome. If you're on Twitter, I would definitely comment on the Nelson Mandela page, and that would be so encouraging to them. So definitely, if you're on there, definitely let them know. If it was me, I would be definitely very encouraged to hear someone, every day watch one of them for inspiration. So yeah. Elizabeth B says, Spare has a life of its own. Now we really know what we thought we knew. Yes, I know. It definitely has a life of its own. And I'm glad Harry and Meghan are mostly out of the spotlight, especially Meghan. And people are like, where's Meghan? Where's Meghan? It's like, mind your business. Aoma says, congratulations to Eugenie and also to Paris. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Aoma. Let's see. Lydia says the podcast got overlooked with the deal or no deal mess. Very happy for Paris. Yeah, it definitely did. That I would never. Oh, whoopee. It just was like, but I would think, yes, that definitely clouded it, but I would hope many people listen to it in spite of that nonsense. And it's so funny that came and it went, and you never heard from those people ever again. It's just like, amazing. Kizuna says Paris is married. Paris married him. Oh, okay. So there you go. She is married. Okay, I wasn't sure. I hadn't, paid attention. And Sylvia saying the same thing. Paris is married. I mean, either way, whether she's married or not, she has a baby. So, let's see. Terry said, I was shocked when I heard, but I'm happy for her. Yeah, absolutely. She has her own little baby. And I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. I have no idea. So let's see. Oh, wait, I think I got this before, Venny. I got this before. What she says, if Charles and Fumbles don't want to appear petty, they should not wake up. They should not wake up in the morning because they cannot help themselves. Not sure what you mean by that. I mean, let's hope they wake up in the morning. I wouldn't want to wish death on anybody. I hope that's not what you mean. I hope that's not. I don't think that's what you mean. Let's see. A couple more before we end. Patricia says, can't wait for the African global citizenship so we can get rid of the colonizers' passports. Oh, I didn't know about this. Maybe you want to come. explain a little bit, and we could talk about it another time. I didn't know about this. Very interesting. The African Global Passport, African Global Citizenship. Huh. Didn't know anything about it. So, oh, Lydia says, please take a moment to like. Thank you, Lydia. Over 700 in the chat with 352 likes. Please thumbs up. Yes, please. If you're here, please definitely like. Definitely like us. If you are new here, please subscribe to our channel. Please give it a thumbs up. Please share so we can continue to build our channel. That would be awesome. Jessica, I will post the link to Omid Scobie's interview in the show notes. So, but if anybody has it right now and want to post it in the chat before we end, that's fine too. But it will be in the show notes at the end of this. So you can also get it there as well. And also the links to all the other articles that I talked about. Chody says, in his book, he said, after his gap year in 2016, single, he would not entertain public event. He got tired of being locked up in the boot of his security officer. He got tired of his life. Come, Meghan. I don't think I understand what you're saying. I am not sure what you're saying there. I don't understand it. Shota says, if you want to explain a little bit, that would be great. Thanks. Cookies and Cream says, Eleanor Patterson. I didn't hear about it until yesterday. Also, I watched it on YouTube. It is truly good. I am not all surprised about the abuse Omid suffered at the hands of the racist thugs. Yeah, absolutely. And they're still doing it. They still are doing it, especially Dan Wooten, Pierce Morgan, and Richard Eden. Those are the main ones that attack him on the daily, especially Richard Eden. Even though he is blocked, Richard Eden has a one of those secret Twitter accounts, shall we say, called Maureen, that someone outed him as his Twitter handle is Maureen. And so he has still been trolling Omid Scobie's his posts and attacking him all the time. So yeah, especially those three. Since we're calling people out, let's name them. So Federica says, by the way, I got a rejection letter from Invictus. I'm truly really crushed. I'm not going. In the same letter, they asked if I could work for Special Olympics. I can't, as Berlin is 550 kilometers from my house. Oh, I am sorry, Frederica. I'm really sorry. I know they had a lot of applications. Oh, man. I am sorry to hear that. And then you're not able to do the Special Olympics. And it's good to see that they're also working with the Special Olympics as well. So that's good. I'm sorry. And she said that there were over 3,500 applications to volunteer, and they only took 1,400. Yeah. Excuse me. They definitely did have a whole lot of applications. So, sorry. Sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that, Federica. Maybe next time, maybe if you did it for the next one, I don't know, but sad. Let's see. A couple more. Let's see. One more. Federica says, I really wanted to go, but now it's flag waving for me. It is what it is. So we'll still support them in every single way. So I'm sorry, but yeah. Patricia says, Ghana is also granting citizenship to all diasporans, regardless of what tribe we come from. Okay, so I'm going to read. I have to read more about this. I didn't know anything about it. So I'm going to read more about this so I can understand it a little bit better. So, okay. I think that's it, guys. I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for taking time to, just hang out, chat, Squatties, Sussexes, Spare. And again, very happy that more eyes are opened as to what's going on between the royal family and the press, especially. Thank you so much to our awesome moderators, Lydia, Church Nelly, Karen M, Cookies and Cream. Thank you for just everything you do to make our space safe and wonderful and fun. Thank you to our awesome 2 Cents crew members. I'll move myself so you can see 2 Cents crew members who support the channel on the monthly. Thank you so much for your kind support. I appreciate it. Thank you. And all goes to our supporters who support, whether it's super chat, super thanks, super stickers, PayPal, Cash App, merchandise. Thank you all so much for your support. I'm telling you, couldn't do this without you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, guys. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Bye.